Welcome to Girls Who Talk Goals. I'm Christy.
I'm Natalie.
And I'm Emily.
We are creating an empowering community where we inspire each other to step out of our comfort zones
And fill each other's cups one conversation at a time.
We're all just trying to figure out life, so let's go on this journey together.
Let's jump into today's episode.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to reflect a little bit on how we got where we are currently as far as career and mindset goes and lessons that we have learned along the way.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about our educational backgrounds, how we all got into our careers, and then what we love to do outside of that.
So, Natalie, where did you go to school and what did you study?
So I got my bachelor's in business from a local university like everybody else around here for the most part. I feel like everybody has a time stint where they wanted to get into the medical field.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I had that. Originally, I wanted to be an OBGYN, and I wanted to be like a neonatal surgeon.
Dr. Zimmer.
After Grey's Anatomy and everything. I don't know. I feel like that was just the thing to do. But then I took chemistry in high school, and my dreams really faded out after that. And so then I got more realistic on, okay, I love business. And so my whole family is in real estate, so it just felt very natural for me to just get my degree in business management. I was a great student in high school, but I hated college.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I definitely was not ready to move away as well, because when I went to school, I went to another university first, and then had a bad relationship, very toxic. I know that word is so overused, but this was actually toxic. And so I used that almost as an excuse looking back to come back because I wasn't ready to leave in the first place, which I look at that. You're like 17 years old, 18, and you're having to make a huge decision. Some people, signing on loans or whatever. And it's just, you're so young to know what you want to do. And I didn't. I knew it was like business. I knew real estate was going to be involved in my future. And I loved that. But I had no idea how I was going to get there. And so ended up getting my degree in like 2 years, my bachelor's, because I did so many dual credit in high school. And so I would just summer classes, online, literally everything I could do to just get done because I hated college. And then that's when I found appraising. I hadn't even heard of appraising because even in a real estate family, I never knew about appraising, I feel like. It was either like real estate agent, which my mom was a real estate agent, or property management. But appraising, I always just assumed like, oh, home inspector. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go into crawl spaces. Yeah, which sometimes I do for FHA loans, or like assessor. I don't want everybody to hate me because their assessments go up. And so then my dad said, what about appraising? And so I looked into it. I mentored a couple people around here, and I found an amazing mentor who I still have today. And that's just how I got into appraising and real estate. And now just got my realtor licensed and closed on my first investment property. So I guess that's just my little background.
I love that. I want to backtrack really quick because you said that you hated college, which is so crazy because, a lot of people, like, that's some of the best times that they have. So it's just always interesting to hear someone have a different perspective and that,
which I think I probably would have if I left. My top two choices were Ole Miss and Butler. And I visited Ole Miss maybe like 5 times. I was dead set on it. I didn't even apply to the other universities that I was going to go to. I applied to Butler and Ole Miss, and it was the pharmacy program because I'm like, oh, I'm going to be a pharmacist. And then I took chemistry, and that was like out the window. No. This was junior year of high school. And I did not apply to Purdue, U of I, and Champaign. I didn't apply to Eastern. I was like, okay, nope. I got waitlisted like one place, and that was it. And so like on a random day, I applied to U of I and Purdue, and then I got into both, and I ended up choosing Purdue. Stayed there, but then transferred back the first year. Just because I was
had
not
no
interested.
idea of that.
Yeah.
Wait, so you lived in like West Lafayette?
Yeah.
I was just there this weekend.
I know.
That's funny.
I know. Yeah. I was not ready. I had a terrible relationship, but I don't know. As I reflected more, I really was not ready to leave.
Yeah.
So like I used that really as a as an excuse. Yeah. Looking back, 1000%. And it was just I was still learning myself. I did not have as much confidence as I have now. I could literally go into a room and just dance. Like, I don't care. I have too much confidence now. And I'm like,
that's one of her best qualities, though. And that's something that I like admire about you so much. So
it's something
don't stop.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't stop.
Thanks. Because I did not have any.
It takes time. And who does it? Who does it 17, 18?
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly.
Who does it 25 too?
True.
Not very many people.
No. I had terrible acne in high school. And so that was like a huge just deterrent of like going out and like doing social activities. Because when you hate yourself or like you hate looking at yourself in the mirror, why would you want to be social and everything?
Yeah. Right. Whenever you go to bed at night and when you wake up in the morning, all you see is your horrible skin.
Yeah. And you try everything and then you get made fun of. Even like, people are seeing it. Like, it just is what it is.
Even
and
with makeup on.
Yeah. Oh my God. You look like a cookies and cream bar and nobody likes it.
No.
You really, and it's just terrible. And so, and that also showed through my relationship because he was very toxic, but I wasn't confident enough at that time. And I'm so thankful for going through that then, though, because I learned so many lessons, and I'm so thankful I learned those at a young age.
Well, I just heard something recently of who you are with is a reflection of how much you love yourself.
Yes, I agree.
And I love that.
Ooh. I agree.
It's very deep.
That is.
Yeah. Because if you're with somebody who is so toxic, then like you said, you didn't have much confidence in yourself. So
yes.
It kind of is a reflection.
And that's still saying something. I mean, I came from a very supportive family. It's not like I can't imagine people who don't have that and then get into the toxic relationships because then you're trapped or you have nobody else or, whatever circumstances happen. But even coming from a supportive family and everything, and I still got into that just because I had low confidence. Like, it's terrible. Relationships can really define you.
Definitely.
Especially at that age.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but I found real estate and I love it. I love all things business. My life is a real life game of Monopoly. I literally thought about that as I was closing just last week because I was so nervous. Even though it wasn't that much money, I'm like, I'm fine. But it's still very nerve-wracking.
It is.
And so I'm like, you know what? I just need to pass go again. Get my monthly rent check or my monthly rent checks and my paychecks and just go to the next property.
I love that.
Roll the dice. I'll get lucky.
It's just a game.
It's just a game.
It's just money, though.
It's just money. Oh my God. Okay. I know this is a little off track, but I was thinking the idea of money. Okay, hold on. Get with me on this. The idea of money. So like paper. I'm thinking of like paper bills or crypto. Isn't it so interesting how we only give it value because we collectively as a society give it value? It's literally just paper. Or crypto is not even, it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's literally just money.
It is.
And it doesn't even kind of exist in a way.
Yeah.
It's just we give so much value to it.
It's made up.
Yep.
Honestly, I mean, it kind of is. Like, I know it's very important and of course, but I don't look at money. I look at it like, okay, I have money to manage. It's not like it's mine. I can't spend it all because it's, diversified or whatever.
Especially with investments.
Investments, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the idea, I saw that on an Instagram post, I think. Just the idea of money, how everybody gives it so much weight when it's like paper.
Right. And then they just print more.
And then they print, yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or like the bank, all of the money in everybody's accounts, like the bank doesn't have.
It's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like,
you're like, that's
hashtag
my money.
scam.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, so Christy, tell us a little bit about your background, where you went to school.
I would love to. I'm from Bethany, very small town of 1,200. When I graduated high school, I wanted to be an ag teacher.
Which is weird.
Like,
not weird, ag teacher, just seeing you now.
I know.
Like, that is so I can't even picture it.
I'll tell some of my clients that too, and they're like, what the heck?
You?
No.
Was sheep in the cattle? That?
Well, I just had really good ag teachers when I was in high school. And I was like, man, I just want to be just like them. So I got a scholarship to play volleyball at Lakeland and then moved there. started my ag classes, got an animal science class, and I was like, I don't know, this ain't for me. I remember this one day we were going around the room and they were like, okay, we're going to name like all of the breeds of horses. I was like, oh my gosh, I know like 3. I can't even tell you what they are today. And it got to me and like I had to skip because I just didn't know. And then everybody else knew. And that kind of sounds like dumb, but it's one of those moments that I remember that like I just knew this wasn't the career for me. So transferred out of the ag program there and then started in the business department. Easily just knew I was in the right place at that time. Enjoyed going to all of my classes and just had a lot more fun too. And, you know, knew the answers to things.
And that's how you knew you were on the right path.
and I wanted to learn along with that too. And I was in college too. And I'm still like this today is like any book that is business or marketing related, I want to buy it and I want to read it and just like soak up all the knowledge. I always knew I wanted to do something in business after that time of leaving the ag program. So after that, or my sophomore year of college at Lakeland, I got married after like 4 months of dating my husband.
And how old were you?
I was 19.
That is crazy.
I was 19 when we got engaged, sophomore at Lakeland, and I was 20 when we got married, but I'd only been 20 for like 2 months.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep. January 3rd, 2019 is when we got married.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Been married since. We were a little crazy. He was in the military, so we got married, but it was definitely a great choice. Can't complain.
Still
He's a
going
great
strong.
husband. Yeah. Yep. And I'm lucky to have found my partner at like the age that I have. So
He's great. He just
know.
seems very chill and calm, and even though I don't know him that well,
He keeps me grounded.
yeah, he gives off that energy.
He's like the calm to my crazy storm.
You can tell he's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And like is there to boost me to get to where I want to be.
Yeah.
Right. As the right partner should.
Yes. So after that, we moved to North Carolina. I worked at like a e-commerce startup for a little while, learned a lot about running a business and, you know, all of the hats that go under that. Had an opportunity to work in real estate there where we lived. They had like reached out to me to do some marketing because when we rented our house from this place, we had had a conversation with him, told him I ended up finishing my bachelor's at Northern Illinois University online when I was in North Carolina. So I told them that and then did a little bit of marketing stuff for the real estate company in North Carolina. And then I ended up interviewing with them for like 2 hours. They wanted me to become an agent. Longest interview I've also ever had.
That's a long interview.
Yeah. 2 hours.
It was more just like conversation of getting to know each other, but that's how you know. I feel like you're around the right people though too.
Yeah.
So it was great, but I could never take the leap there and do it because I loved what else I was doing. So I stayed with that. Then we moved back to Illinois a few years ago, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do here besides that because it piqued my interest so much. So got my license and then have been doing it. This is now my 3rd year, and I love it so much.
And you're great at it.
Thank you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is
3 years
crazy.
now.
I know. And it's great. So I love helping people purchase like investment properties. That's probably my favorite thing to do because I like to help people make money.
That's your niche.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I want to help every single investor buy a house in Central Illinois.
Yeah.
Love it. And we're on our 2nd property right now that we've purchased.
So you have like firsthand experience.
Yes.
To give them and tips and everything.
Yeah. And like they learn from me, but at the same time I get to learn from them, and it's fun. I don't know. I just love it so much. Besides that, I coach volleyball, which is fun. The girls keep me on my toes always, and they're also fun to like learn from and kind of keep me in the know because they're like 14 and 17, and man, times have changed. They keep me up to date on all the latest trends and all the things.
The slang.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Let's not even get into that.
Yeah.
Could be a whole episode.
Yeah.
And besides that, Andrew and I have started like traveling a little more. And actually, Natalie and Emily have motivated me to get my passport because they've gone out of the country several times. They keep talking about it, and I'm like, it's time to go.
It's time to go.
So next Friday, I have an appointment to get my passport. But listen, we might have a problem.
Why?
Because after my mom gave birth to me, they're like, oh, sign the birth certificate. So she was like drugged up, you know, on whatever, because she had just pushed me out.
Oh, yeah. On the normal meds.
On the legal ones.
Yes.
The legal ones.
She spelled my name wrong on my birth certificate. So my name is supposed to be Christina, and it is on my birth certificate has 3 I's, so it's like Christinia. Kind of princess.
Shut up.
Christinia.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
So, listen,
Christinia.
though. On my driver's license, my marriage certificate, I have Christina. I don't have that extra I in there. Nobody has ever caught it. So the only thing it's on is my social security card and my birth certificate. So I'm thinking, like, I'm going to get my passport next week.
It'll be
Friday.
fine.
I'm like, are they going to catch that the extra I isn't on my license? You know what I mean?
Just don't say anything.
I'm not going to.
I don't think so.
I'm just anticipating it and I guess ready to tell the story, you know?
I'm sure they'll love to hear it.
Did you change your last name when you got married?
Yeah.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
And that's on all your cards and everything?
That's on my social, yeah. Mm-hmm. You get a new one after you submit for it if you want to take your husband's last name.
Yeah.
Andrew had a good one, so.
Yeah, that's cute.
I had to take
Christy Frost.
Yeah, it's adorable.
It is.
Yeah.
Good last name.
Yeah.
Lots of like snowman jokes, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's cute, though.
Mm-hmm.
It fits.
Yeah. So that's me. Happy to be here.
Love it.
Emily?
Love it. My turn.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in the same town as Natalie. Here, I like you and everybody else.
I like you too.
Like everybody else, you want to go into the medical field when you're in high school or when you enter college.
What do you mean? We wanted to go in the ag field.
What? No, you're from Bethany.
Medical.
We're from big girl Mattoon, big town.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, we thought Mattoon
The big
was a
city.
small town. But yeah, I wanted to. I originally wanted to go to Alabama for college, and I got into their neuroscience program because I was so fascinated with psychology and everything. I got in and then realized how expensive it was, and my parents weren't going to pay for my college, and so I would have had to take out student loans. And I was like, ooh, $50,000 a year, like, yeah. And then for neuroscience, so you'd go for 4 years for your bachelor's, and then I wanted to be a neurologist. So that'd be another 4 years of medical school. Doesn't everybody? They want to be a doctor.
No, they don't.
I swear they do.
That is
Growing up, I
wild.
wanted to be a vet.
Everybody wants to
then
be either in the medical field or a lawyer.
I could see the lawyer, but
I don't see the lawyer. I see the doctor.
Yeah.
Or a vet. Well, doctor.
But anyway, yeah, I wanted to go there, but then I realized I'm like, ooh, I don't want to get into debt. Not that much debt, at least. So I stuck around Mattoon, and I went to Lakeland for 2 years, and I think I was pre-med was my major. And then I went to Eastern for another 2 years, a year and a half, and then I got my bachelor's in biology. And my plan originally was to go to medical school, but then I was like, I'm not smart enough for that, and I don't want to be a doctor. There's just so many responsibilities with it too, and just so much schooling. And I'm like, I'm gonna be like 35 before I even start my career.
right.
So a step down from that is being a physician's assistant, and you have all pretty much the same responsibilities, but you're just not held as liable as a doctor. And the schooling for that was 2.5 years. And so I was like, yeah, perfect. Let's do that. So that was my goal, the end goal. And throughout Eastern, I got my bachelor's, and then I started applying to PA school. I was working at the hospital in the OR, which is not as cool as it sounds. And I worked there for about 2 years because you had to work up clinical hours, and I started applying, and in the midst of applying, I was like, why do I want to be in healthcare? Because I don't really care about taking care of other people.
When you had a job, what was it? It's not a CNA. What were you?
I was an in-home CNA.
You were a CNA.
Yeah, I took care of one older lady.
You had experience.
I did.
Like, you were getting good experience.
Right.
In the hospital and outside.
Yeah, I was very exposed to all of that, and I was like, no. And honestly, the only reason I wanted to be a PA was because there was good job security, and I knew I would make a decent amount of money. But you also can't work while you're in school. So that's 2.5 years of going to school, very expensive school, where you come out with, 6 figures worth of debt most of the time. And I'd worked so hard throughout undergrad to not have any student loans, and I'm like, to go into that much debt and then come out making good money, but I wouldn't even be passionate about it. Yeah. And then having somebody tell me, like, oh, you can have 2 weeks of vacation a year, and then, like, this is how much you're making.
Right.
I was like, no, I don't like this. I don't like this enough. So I actually sat down with Natalie, and I was talking with her, and I'm like, I don't know what I want to do, but this isn't it. And she's like, well, what about real estate? I was like, what, like, be a realtor? She's like, yeah. I'm like, nope, absolutely not. Because I was so much more introverted back then. I think I still am introverted, but back then that was like terrifying.
Which is why I didn't become a real estate agent.
Yeah.
In the beginning, because I had the low confidence. And I was like, sales? Like, you're
talking
joking.
To people.
You're joking.
Putting yourself out there.
I could never.
No. And that's how I was. I was like, no.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. Like, it's not as bad as it seems, even though you were an appraiser.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't even a realtor.
You're like, no. Yeah. It's not bad.
You thought about appraising, though.
I did. Yeah. Because you were like, okay, well, like, that way you're not putting yourself out there as much. You don't have to go and, like, network and, like,
get your business.
Exactly. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And I had my bachelor's, and so I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
But finding somebody to train you,
it's impossible.
That's like, yeah.
It's nearly impossible.
It is.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So running into those walls, I was like, you know what? Why don't I just get my realtor's license?
Yeah.
And so I did, and it was terrifying. It was so scary because it's a commission only job. So you don't know when you're going to make money, especially as a brand new agent. Who's going to trust you?
Who's young?
Who's going to work with you? Yes.
Female, young.
Yeah.
Like, you had everything stacked against all of us.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
In our fields.
Right. So, anyway, so I got my license. It's been a year and a half now.
Wait, pause. I just want to reiterate. You quit your job. You got your license. We go on a 2-week European vacation.
We did.
And then you come back and start working.
Yeah. Our first European vacation, I did not have a job.
You were like, bye.
I was like,
I'm going to Europe.
What else do you do when you quit your job? And when you're about to go through transition, what else do you do?
I think it propelled you.
It did.
I think it's amazing going to another country, especially Europe, and seeing how they work and just
the work-life balance, because it reflects what we do so much when you work for yourself and you have that freedom and flexibility. But then you go to countries who their workforce that's like the mode or the model that they go by.
It's inspiring.
It was very inspiring. Yeah. So anyway, quit my job, jumped with 2 feet into real estate because that's the only way to do it.
I agree.
And I love it ever since.
Yeah.
I work with Natalie's mom, Dana, and it's been great. It's been a great year and a half, and I love it.
So let's talk a little bit more about travel, since we were just talking about it a little bit.
Yes.
Because we're big, avid travelers.
Huge.
Well, we are. I'd say we are.
At least huge, very passionate about it.
Very passionate. Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about that, since that's a huge passion of both of ours. Mm-hmm. Where was the first place? Did you go on vacations when you were growing up, or like a certain place?
Florida.
We went to Florida.
Else.
Me too.
Yeah. Like everybody else. Destin or
else.
PCB, Gulf Shores, Alabama. That's it.
Yeah. So where did you get your passion for traveling?
I honestly don't know. Well, I have an aunt. She is such a free spirit, and she has been everywhere in the world. She used to work in Antarctica, so she'd go over to New Zealand all the time. She's been there like 25 times. She would always like buy me things from everywhere she went. So I think that's where I kind of got the idea. But just thinking of like that the world is so big, and like, why would you not want to go see it?
Right.
I think that was what propelled me.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're from such a small town. Like, there's so much to see and so much to do.
Right. Especially when we're surrounded by fields. And if we had like mountains or an ocean nearby, I think that would settle me a little bit more. But we've got nothing. So I'm like, I got to get out of here. I got to go see the world.
Yeah.
Agree.
I love traveling so much. I think it's so important. And I love how Europeans, I don't know about all, I just know it's more common to take like a gap year. I think that's so amazing to like see different cultures, and everything's so close over there anyway, because we would take a train from London to Paris in like 2 hours.
Right.
And it's just so wild to see the different languages and the cultures and
how their day-to-day life is.
Yeah. And architecture. I love looking at the architecture. And it's beautiful. And it's like we used to build such magnificent places, and now we're building
skyscrapers.
Yeah, it's still amazing.
Which is still amazing, yes.
But I don't know.
That's why I love traveling other places so much, like other countries, because I feel like they're so much older.
Yeah.
Than the United States, and that's what fascinates me. So
I love history.
Huge, that's a huge thing for me.
Yeah,
seeing all the old buildings and just hearing about their history.
Right.
But what's on your top bucket list, Christy?
Probably Dubai.
Really?
Did you see they're getting like
what
right now? They're like going underwater.
Wait,
There's
what?
A huge like storm hitting them right now.
I didn't know that.
I don't think it's like a hurricane. It's like all on my TikTok.
I do not watch the news. And I'm not on TikTok.
It's on my TikTok.
I'm not on TikTok.
That's my
I'm on Instagram 2 weeks after it comes to TikTok.
Yeah.
Like I get
you get the leftovers.
Yes.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Probably there though. Honestly, I want to go everywhere. You guys have inspired me to go to multiple places too. Would love to go to Paris. That'd be awesome.
Yes. I was actually looking at flights last night on Skyscanner. I'm like, let me just put in a little,
Where'd you look?
Paris. Well, I did Chicago to anywhere, because Skyscanner you can do everywhere or anywhere, and you can do like flexible dates. And I put Chicago to, I think Paris or anywhere, and Paris is one of them. And for like tomorrow. And, and I was thinking, girl group goes to Paris for the weekend. It was only $300.
See?
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, you
know
what?
This is my biggest tiff with traveling abroad is people think it is so expensive, which it can be.
Can be, yes.
It can be. However, I'll argue that you can spend just as much, if not more, going to places like Florida or South Carolina or California. You can go over to Europe for much cheaper.
Right, because I have a ticket to California for the end of June, and I think it was like $450 or $500. So
right,
yeah, that's typical. Like that's average.
Yeah,
I think like $400 to $600 for a domestic flight.
Right. Or even if you fly down to Key West, Florida, some of those flights are like over $1,000.
Oh yeah.
And it's insane. Where like we've flown to Paris for $500. We've flown to London or Scotland or Hawaii during COVID. It was like $500, $500 to like $700. So I don't know. That's my biggest tip. And I think people probably have that misconception about us too. Going overseas, they're like, wow, they're probably spending so much money. But also when you're going with your friends and you're splitting it between 4 people, it's not
bad at all.
Right.
No.
Granted, we're not staying in the best. I mean, honestly, they're not bad. But there was a couple where it was like a cracker box.
Didn't you say you guys spent like $50 on one place?
Yes.
So it was like $15 a person.
Our first night in Paris.
Oh, that little
loft
where Abby and I were down on the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tiny.
Yeah.
That was tiny.
A little sketchy, but
yeah, it was a little sketch.
But you can
do it on a budget.
Right.
That's the memories.
Yeah.
And then we had one in Antibes that smelled like sewer. Real bad.
And we were there for like 5 nights.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh no.
But it had gorgeous views, and you'd never know.
You would never know.
Can't smell it on the photo.
No, and that's the thing.
I don't look at that photo and be like, I don't remember it.
I don't even think about it.
No.
But yeah, people think it's so expensive, and like I said, it can be.
Yeah.
But you can also spend a smaller amount and still see everything and go everywhere. And like you said, everything is so close over there. You could hit like 3 or 4 countries in a week if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
Which is what I want to do.
Which is insane. I know. I'd love to go backpacking. My aunt. I feel like the aunts.
You always
have a cool travel aunt.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And my aunt Amy, who lives in Colorado, like we talked in the episode before, she backpacked Europe with a friend of hers. I think you babysat. Yeah, you babysat her kids. And I'm like, that's amazing. She didn't have kids till she was older. I'm like, wow.
She lived her life.
I love that.
Like, I respect it.
I do too.
I think you have to in your 20s, especially those like big trips like that. I know you can 100% do that with kids, but I think it is a little bit more difficult. Getting a kid settled on an 8, 9, 10 hour flight, it is expensive too.
And then you have to worry about somebody else. You just kind of want to be selfish, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, I think getting those big trips.
And finding yourself is huge with travel. That's why I like connect with traveling, because we traveled growing up, but like our vacations were primarily like Florida. We'd go down to Disney, or further south to like Fort Myers area, or we'd go to Colorado and visit my aunt and everything. But I can only remember we took like a business trip with my dad to Quebec, Canada. I was probably like 6, so I vaguely remember it. Right. And then the only other place out of the country would be like Caribbean, like Cayman Islands. My first big experience was with my mom out my graduation trip after I graduated high school. We did Italy with like Adventures by Disney, and it was phenomenal. We did Rome, Florence, Venice, Tuscany. It was the best trip of my life.
That's so awesome.
And I just got the travel bug.
Yeah.
What's it called? There's a word for it. Like wanderlust, or you always have to have a vacation booked.
Yes.
That's like what I have.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
same.
then that was when I was getting really more confident, was when I went to Greece. I did a solo trip for a week, and I did a retreat, and which is like very unheard of for me. That was wild. I can't believe, which granted, my mom, what was she going to do? Or my parents, of course, they were like, oh, you're doing what? But what were they going to do? I was 22.
Right. Yeah.
And it was like set retreat to where I slept with 2 other girls, and I still follow them. They're from Ireland, and they're adorable.
Aww.
And it was the best trip of my entire life.
We were friends at the time.
Yeah.
We were like,
I was asking you to go, didn't I?
You did ask me to go, but it was, back then I was like, I can't. Like, it was just.
It was like.
It was expensive.
What was it? 3,000 or 4,000 maybe?
Something
and then you
like
had
that.
the flight. So
right.
maybe
so
like.
It was expensive.
Yeah, it was
but
a lot.
But also, I thought you were insane. I'm like,
yeah.
you were like 22. I'm like,
I was
why
22.
are you going somewhere by yourself?
Greece.
What are you going to do?
That was when I had my first panic attack too, was in the Athens airport, which I have super, super bad anxiety, and I have bad panic attacks. I haven't had one in a while, but I'm like, I'll get overheated and then like almost passing out and heart racing, like, oh my God, and disassociation with reality, which I don't even want to get into that right now, but that can be it for another time. But yeah, I was in the airport and I was by myself. I was going there. And so it was just like a 12-hour flight, got to Athens, and then I had an hour maybe layover to get from Athens to Mykonos, where it was. And I couldn't read any of the languages or anything that was happening. Everybody around me was not speaking English, and I was freaking out. So I was trying to walk because I knew if I sat down, I'd probably like pass out or something. I was scared, just shitless, honestly. And then I finally got there, and the whole retreat was manifesting, and we meditated every morning and journaled, and there were little classes. And then most days you had free, to where you kind of get your group and you kind of make friends and everything. And then we'd go out to town or go out to dinners, and it was fabulous. And my dad I had a layover in London coming home for like a weekend, which I've always been obsessed with London. There's just some places that you just have a weird obsession with growing up, and London was mine, specifically the Tudor time period. Listen, I'm crazy. I know I am. I don't want to talk about it. My favorite historical fiction in like Tudor time period.
It's the time period.
I know. It's weird. Why? I have no idea. There is no obsession with London in my family, like at all. But specifically, Tudor time period, Henry VIII and his 6 wives. I've read all the books on them. I'm a nerd for that. And anyway, backtrack. So one of my favorite movies is Taken. And so I think my dad was just over paranoid. And so he met me in London to bring me home. So we spent the weekend in London together, and then he brought me home. But yeah, so that's where I really got the travel bug, when going by myself.
I would say so.
And then we've traveled every year since.
Yeah.
That's just so awesome, though. Very few people have like the courage to do that on their own.
I think that, I mean, I can't speak for you, but I think that is life-changing, especially at that age.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're really trying to figure out what you want in life and who you are, I think traveling solo is probably the best way to do it, because it's only you. You know what you're capable of, and you're just alone. You don't know anybody.
Right. You're kind of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone big time.
Right. And with the time change going that far, it's not like you can just call your parents at any time or your friends, because they're probably sleeping.
And they're not going to know what to do with you being 12 hours away.
Yeah.
No.
You don't realize, you think, oh, I'm going to call you every day or whatever. And you have good intentions, but you don't, because the time change, it's just not realistic.
Right.
You're on a different world. And it is interesting. Once I got there, I didn't have a panic attack, which is amazing, because I thought, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just the start of something really bad. I'm like, here I leave home and this is what happens to me, or, you know. Breakdown, yeah. But it was amazing. And you don't fully realize who you are until you are alone, because when you're fully immersed in another environment, and it's hard because even if you go somewhere alone around here, somebody knows you or your family, or somebody has a connection. So you're not fully unknown.
Right.
But if you go someplace where totally nobody knows you, to see who you are and to how you present yourself is fascinating, because you are your highest self in that moment, I believe. And so me, during that week, this was post-breakup of ex-boyfriend and everything, so I was truly gaining so much confidence in myself, figuring out what I wanted, and just the amount of confidence and just light that I brought home with me was out of this world.
You were a different person.
I was a complete different person.
That was like a turning point for you.
It was. Oh my God. I could not recommend it enough to anybody. So needless to say, we are very passionate about traveling, and we'll get into all of that further on, of exactly what it means to us, and we'll have maybe a whole episode just dedicated to it. And who knows, we might take you guys along with us, because we do have maybe some travel plans coming up. And obviously Christy's getting her passport.
Yes.
So stay tuned.
As long as the name goes through.
Yes, as long as the name goes through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Identities.
You're gonna be the one when we go through customs.
I'm gonna be the issue.
You're gonna be the issue.
I know.
We're leaving you behind. We're on the plane.
But anyway, so yeah, basically we just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a background, a little bit more of in-depth background on us, essentially.
Yeah.
And just kind of our interests.
We got into real estate, our educational backgrounds, and how we got here today.
Yeah. So hope you guys have a fantastic Monday, or whenever you are listening to this.
Yes. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Tune in next time.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Thanks.